All right, ladies and gentlemen, I have Steve Stockman on the radio with us. Steve, my friend, happy Sabbath and happy Thanksgiving to you and your family, sir.
Well, thank you, Sam. I haven't talked to you in quite some time. It's good to talk to you again.
I wish it were under better circumstances.
Yeah, me too.
All right, so give us kind of a thumbnail. I know it's long and it's convoluted, but look, they tried to really attack you because of the things that you were doing in Congress and then after. It took them, several different grand juries? I thought we didn't have double jeopardy in America.
Yeah, we do. It's 4 grand jurors, actually, and $20 million.
What do they call that when it's 4? It's not double jeopardy, is it?
No. Double jeopardy is when they actually charge you and then charge you again. And they kind of actually did that, too. They did stacking charges and some other things. They charged me for having a savings account. I think they said it was wire fraud, mail fraud, which is 40 years. Just for that, for having a savings account. Never took a dime out of it, or we put money in it, but never took a dime out of it. It's really incredible. Another charge is 20 years for saying, I think I'm in a runoff. It's really outrageous, but it was primarily after I did Megyn Kelly's show, Calling for the Rest of Lois Lerner, is when the FBI agent testified on the stand that that's when they started investigating me. And it's interesting, too, Sam, one of the key FBI witnesses, Ben Whitmore, says that he thinks it was a total sham. Anybody who studies this case, I think you'll see why Sidney Powell, who wrote the book License to Lie, and who was a federal prosecutor, said that our case is outrageous. I don't know the exact quote, but you can probably see it at Patty's website. It's quite unusual.
You know, Steve, what I find fascinating is back in the day, George Hansen, congressman from Idaho, literally tried to stand up against the abuses and the hostilities and the wrongdoings of the IRS as well. They put him in diesel therapy. They literally ruined his health, ruined his life. We used to have him on the air with us 25 years ago or so. Now he's passed away. But at the end of the day, there was a court case that proved he was right and the government was wrong, and they had to pay retributions to Steve Hansen. We need to get this to President Trump. We need to get this to somebody that can really look at this and say, listen, this is nothing more than Lois Lerner taken to extreme, using courts, judges, violation of due process, literally the preventing of evidence being delivered to the courts, literally manipulating the grand juries of what they think they're voting on. I mean, this goes to the nth degree of judge, jury, and executioner, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, her testimony, she gave testimony which she had sealed, and Lois Lerner had sealed. And the reason it was sealed, she said, because if anybody heard her testimony, they would want to kill her. That's her words, not mine. So I think that testimony needs to be unsealed. And unfortunately, we weren't allowed to have access to that. We asked the Justice Department for numerous things, and we were told no. And I don't know why Sessions was keeping the status quo, but he was. I mean, a lot of those people there are very, very liberal.
Do you think things will change now that Sessions is out?
Well, I hope so, but it depends who he picks. I really like, I forget his name, Giovanni, how do you pronounce his name? He's a great guy. He'd be excellent to replace Sessions. But, it depends. I mean, if they pick an establishment or Republican again, you're not going to see anything happen.
Part of the problem is Donald, I think, means well, but he's not draining the swamp fast enough. And I'm afraid if we're not careful, they're going to get him too.
Yeah, I actually think they're going to do almost. In fact, one of the prosecutors in our case said we can use this against Trump. So this will be an example of what we can do. And what they're doing is actually following what they did to me. Trump had this nonprofit, and they're going after his nonprofit in the state, and then they'll file state charges, and he can't pardon anybody in the state level, only the federal level. So it's replicating kind of what they did to me.
No, but your case is federal level, right?
Yeah, it's federal, but I'm saying that they first, they're going after the nonprofit, and the only difference is that they're working in conjunction with the DOJ, both the state and the federal in New York. It's really highly inappropriate what they're doing, but there's always double standards.
There's double standards, and unless we really start to double down, I think what we need is a presidential commission to look into these cases to find out when wrongdoing occurs. There seems to be patterns. I look at case after case after case in the prison systems, and like I say, I've been watching this, Steve, as you know, since the George Hansen days. 25 years I've been watching this, and there's telltale patterns to the way they treat people in terms of the instructions they give to the jury, in terms of the judges not allowing your witnesses and or your evidence to come to the table. When they basically use a lot of these grand juries, it's like, hey, you come into the game already in a pit. It reminds me of the old biblical days where they dig a pit for someone and leave them there to die. You start in a pit because you basically don't get a chance to defend yourself from the original allegations, the original accusers. You start from underground based on the way these grand juries work. And then if they try 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever times, and we've got constitutional violations everywhere, sir.
Yeah, and you got to realize there's only 2 nonprofits and 4 checks. This isn't a complicated case. If there was a crime, it wouldn't have taken 4.5 years to find it. You don't see bank robbers take that long before a grand jury. But the other thing too is one of the guys you need to interview before he gets put in prison, which I think he goes on the 5th, is Zodiates. His dad was a biblical scholar, and they set him up. One of the people that did a civil suit and then took it to criminal was a Southern Poverty Law Center, and his case is outrageous what they did to him. But he was the biggest mailer, anti-Obama mailer in the country, one of the biggest, if not the biggest. And they went after him, and it's really a really bizarre case. It's horrible.
Yeah, but give me his name again.
His name is Philip Zodiates.
Zodiates. Okay, we'll follow up on that one too. We're working with Rudy closely. We're working with several other people, our organizations, the Freedom Coalition. We really want a presidential commission on this because we have to have literally enough power and enough latitude and enough financing to really dig into these cases. I'm just telling you, there's patterns, and we've got experts who have been in prison and who have had grand juries attack them, but eventually they're free now. I won't name names right this second, but we're creating a board of people who can literally double down and articulate when these patterns happen, because they follow the same patterns every time. Every single time they follow these same patterns.
Yeah, the shoe's on the other foot. In fact, if you look at Congress now, Republicans controlled Congress for 2 years and did almost no investigation, and then now it's flipped. There's going to be tons of investigations, and they really should do that. And at the executive level where Trump is, when the DOJ was under the thumb of Obama, you had tons of conservatives being investigated, and yet you don't have anything similar to that at all currently.
Unfortunately, we need to work towards it, though, and I think we need to educate President Trump. I think he's just surrounded by so many swamp monsters. He doesn't really realize what authority he has.
No, they're giving him bad advice. They actually stopped him twice from wanting to do it, and it's ridiculous.
Yeah, he listens to his attorneys, and there comes the downfall. So, Steve, 2 things before we let you go. We know you're tied up here a little bit and stuff like that. I wanted to ask you, though, what can we best do, one, for you and for everybody else? I mean, one thing, we want to get you out before Christmas, but secondarily, we got a bigger problem on our hands. I mean, there's dozens and dozens and dozens of political prisoners. It's shocking.
Yeah, it is. It really is. It's outrageous. Well, pray for Patty, my wife, and then also visit our website and forward it to as many people as you can. We're on appeal, and we only have a very brief time, and we're trying to. They bankrupt us. They went after us for so many years. We have no more funding left. I mean, spend it all trying to defend yourself, because the government has unlimited money and lawyers and everything. So spread the word, forward our email and our website, and then also there's a number on there which I don't have at hand. Maybe you can put it out there. I think it's 999 something. You text the word "fight" to it. I don't know the number, but you can put it on there. Let them know. And other than that, pray, and I really appreciate all the people. I got, actually, one of your supporters sent me a nice card, so I appreciate that too. That's really nice.
I love it. All right, so we'll get Patty back on, and we'll let people know where to send cards to help, and I'll run that radio commercial with this interview that's got all the details of where people send. How's your health, though? I know that's kind of been a big concern too, right?
Yeah, I don't have the control over. It's government-run healthcare, and they give you a fixed amount of medication regardless of your diabetes level, which is frustrating. I used to do it myself, and they don't allow you to do it yourself now, which is kind of weird, and I hate it. But and I got some other issues. So keep that in your prayers too.
Well, are they willing to, if you can't do it yourself, are they willing to at least listen to your directions on what needs to be done? I mean, what I mean is that if you're a diabetic and you have experience with your own blood sugar and insulin, you usually can balance it pretty good. But without that internal knowledge, you can't, right?
Yeah, I did that before, but they don't listen to you when you're in here. It's a fixed. I mean, they're going to be moving me soon, but it's a fixed amount and it's a fixed time and everything. There's no, and it's totally different. I used to use the pen. Without going into too much detail, it's different and it's not as proficient as what it was when I was on the outside. But
now where they're moving you to, is it going to be better? Is it going to be?
I have no idea.
Do we know why the move?
Sorry. Oh, because this is just a retention area, and I was the first person that's ever in the history of that we know of a public official being held prior to sentencing. And
they usually let you go on your own recognizance, but in this case, they say, "Hey, Steve's a flight risk. You might leave the country." But this is what they say to all these political prisoners. This is the pattern that I'm talking about.
No, it's quite horrible, and the thing is that you're right, but there's no. It's just sad on how everything's being handled, and it's really something that's really pretty well buried. The mainstream's not going to pick up on it, or even if they don't even care. Keep us in your prayers and fight, and try to really spread the word as much as you can. It's really important.
Steve, we love you, buddy. We are praying for you. We haven't forgot about you, and we never will, sir.
All right. God bless you.
Godspeed. Right. There he goes. Ladies and gentlemen, I hate to chop off the interview. I don't know what to say. They gave us literally a minute left. There's nothing that I can do about it. This was a record live. Steve Stockman, ladies and gentlemen, who is in prison right now. He's a political prisoner. We've got to push for his release before Christmas. We need to work with Donald Trump or anybody who will work with us. This is critical, ladies and gentlemen. I'm talking critical.